Hi BookTube! My name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I'm coming to you with a discussion video, actually today and tomorrow. So for those of you who don't know, I actually plan my videos like a month in advance. Occasionally things pop up and I move things around and you know, I'm just like, okay, I'd rather do this video instead. So it's not like set in stone that these are the videos I'm going to do on these days. And over the last few days, a few things have cropped up that I kind of want to talk about. So today and tomorrow's videos are going to be discussion videos. Today we're talking about Afterglow from Harlequin, their new imprint, as they are calling it. So I have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts. And it's so funny because when they announced this on Instagram, I got tagged by a bunch of people. They're like, hey, have you seen this? I'm like, yeah, I saw it. So I am here to kind of share my thoughts. Now, before we get into anything here in this video, again, my thoughts, my opinion, right? You might have a different opinion and that's perfectly fine. Also, my thoughts for this is that I am not in any way talking about the books themselves at all. I'm talking about whatever this is supposed to be. I'm not talking like, you know, the authors look fantastic. The books actually look like a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. I am not knocking that at all. I just don't understand and I have thoughts. So before I get too much further, for those of you who might be new to my channel, let me explain to you what category romance is. When I say Harlequin, a lot of people think that all of Harlequin is category romance. That is not the case. So category romance, if you go into your Barnes & Noble, your Walmart, your Target, you're going to see books like this sitting on the shelves, okay? So I purposely picked two Desire novels for several reasons. These will be used as props later, as I talk more in this video. But these are both from the Desire lines. You can clearly see it says Desire on both sides, okay? And Harlequin Desire. They have a definite, you can see that these belong to the same, if you want to call it a series, you can call it that for sure. This book here was published in April of 2020, and this book was published in July of 2022, but these could have been published in the same month, for all anybody knows, right? So essentially with category romance, there are kind of strict definitions as to what they are and what category romance actually is. So again, quick schooling in category romance for anyone who's unaware. So they follow certain guidelines, very strict guidelines actually. They adhere to, depending on the line, we're going to again talk about Desire because that's what I'm holding in my hand. There's a strict guideline for the word count. They're, like if you guys look, they're literally probably the same page count. You know, so there is a strict guideline in terms of number of words written. There are certain ways that they like certain character types or tropes that are used throughout these books. Spice levels are at a certain amount for each of these. Like for example, just as another prop because I happen to have it here, if you picked up a Love Inspired book, there's going to be 0 spice in this because it is a Christian fiction romance. You pick up a Desire book, Desire kind of says it all. These are spicy, my friends. These are spicy. So that's what I mean. Like there's certain, with a Desire novel, and again, I'm going to use this as the example. These books almost always feature very, very wealthy characters. CEOs, you know, music producers, very well-to-do ranch owners. Cowboys are featured quite heavily in these books, you know, and it's either the male or the female lead, one of them, or oftentimes both of them are very, very wealthy. They take place in North America generally. You don't generally see them moving outside of the North American setting. That is my personal theory as to why this line is leaving, but again, I will talk about that in a minute. So yeah, like there are kind of strict guidelines. If you actually go on the Harlequin website, they do have Write for Harlequin, and they will break down for you what they want to see and what they don't want to see. You know, because you're at such a short page count, or not page count, word count, generally you're not introducing a lot of extra characters. You're not getting a lot of, you know, background. I mean, you're getting background, but you're not getting a lot of secondary characters and stuff like that. You might meet some characters, especially if it's part of a series, so then that way they can introduce those characters later in another book. But anyway, that's what category romance is. So for example, Desire used to, or still does, publishes 6 books a month. Now, these 6 books, we'll pretend that these are for the same month. They all sit on the shelf for 30 days, or 31 days, depending on how many days in a month, or 28 days. They sit there for 1 month. At the end of the month, the physical books, gone. And they bring out 6 new books on the shelves, okay? That's how category romance works. They're an ever-evolving kind of, you know, right? and I love these guys. I've been loving these books for over 20 years. Not just the Desire line, but category romance in general. Like, I have shelves upon shelves of these books. I have 2 new bags of ones that I just picked up at the thrift store the other day. I love these books because they are set to a strict guideline in a way. You know when you pick up a Desire book exactly what kind of a book that you're going to get. And you might have favorite authors. I love Jules Bennett. She is fantastic. Kayani Alexander, also a great author. If I want to bring back out this one, Catherine Springer, she's fantastic as well. So you might have favorite authors and you might look specifically for their books, or you might just be a fan of the Desire line and you're picking up all the books. So that's kind of a very quick explanation onto category romance so that everyone can understand what we're talking about in this video. So mid last year, it was announced that the Desire line, sadly, was ending. This line has been around since 1982. 1982. Over 40 years, and they're kiboshing it. So, my friend Brie, I used to do this with her, the Categorically Romance podcast. She still is doing it, and she's been talking over the past year, 6 months to a year, with authors and editors, and there have been times that this new line, which is called Afterglow, love the double entendre, was talked about. Now, we didn't have a name for it. We didn't have anything like that. Well, from listening to the podcast, listening to these people talk about it, I heard they couldn't say too much, which I understand. Stuff is being kept under wraps. They're not going to give away all their trade secrets. You know what I mean? But from what I understood it didn't make any sense to me. There was no clear-cut definition as to what this was. So when I got tagged, when this was posted last week on Instagram, I got super excited. I'm like, finally, I can figure out what the heck this is. And I still don't know, okay? Because I don't know why I don't know why we had to do a change. And there are several things in this that I just don't like. As a reader, as a lover of category romance, let's get into it. Let's break it down. So, this was the image here that was posted, And I did read an article in Publishers Weekly this weekend, a very, very short article, in regards to Afterglow, announcing that Harlequin had announced this. And they are riding on the coattails of a hashtag on TikTok called Spicy Talk, where people talk about spicy books. So this is not the first time Harlequin has dipped their toes or done something like this, trying to capitalize off of a trend, essentially, right? Which is exactly what's happening. These books are capitalizing on a trend, on a lot of trends, and I'm going to break that down. These books, my personal opinion, are not category romance. They're not. Again, I said it at the beginning of this video, I'm going to say it again. I'm not talking about the books specifically. Actually, I want to read all of them that I've seen, because they all look really good. I'm not talking about the books. I'm talking about the fact that this is being touted, or was being touted, as a replacement to Desire. It's not. So, let's break down a little graphic here. Sizzling Spice. This also has Sizzling Spice. Swoon-worthy romance. Again. Characters from different walks of life. Yes, we saw that. We did see that. Chasing Dreams. Absolutely. Characters leading their best lives. 100%. Glow-ups. What the hell is that? I'm sorry. I'm just so spicy and I'm so salty about this because I am so, I get Harlequin needs to keep up with the times. I get that they need to, follow trends. I get it. They're publishers. If they did nothing different, they would stagnate 100%. And I fully understand that. But don't say that something is a replacement for something else. If they had said Desire was ending, sadly, and I did touch on this very briefly, as the reason to why. My personal theory is, and it's the same reason that I heard a couple years ago when I did the Categorically Romance podcast, and I had the pleasure of talking with the editor of the historical line. I happen to have a historical in front of me right here, that Harlequin Historicals no longer does Westerns. The reason is because the target market, not the target market audience, but the ones who read the most amount of historical romances through Harlequin are overseas, like the UK and stuff like that. They don't have the American West. That's not their thing. They're Regency, they're Victorian, they're medieval, they're whatever. So they're going to cater, for lack of a better term, to that audience, right? These were not selling as much. Totally understandable. They changed their focus because blah, blah, blah. This is what I'm feeling with Desire as well. Desire primarily takes place in North American settings. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. The most recent one that I read that did not take place in a North American setting was a book that took place on a cruise ship in the Bahamas, but the start and the end of the book both took place in New York City. So it was still North American. Whereas I don't know, like, again, the big readers might be for Mills and Boon in the UK, who might not want North American settings. These are very, very similar to the Presents books in a way, because Presents is, again, they're almost the same page count length, type of story that you see, all those things, very wealthy people, prince, princesses. That's the one difference with Presents to Desire. But they tend to take place in international settings. So, you know, those are kind of the main differences between Presents and Desire, in my opinion. So that's my personal theory as to why. Because the thing is, people love these books. Like, I was on the Harlequin Connections Facebook group, and when they were announced that this line was going, people were not happy. People were not happy. You know, like, people love these books. And again, it's an older generation of readers, an older demographic, so you've got to bring in the younger readers. And I get it. I get it. But again, please don't say that something is replacing something else. So here's my bigger issue with these as well. So I looked at the books, and again, guys, they look super cute. Like, they look super cute. There are going to be 4 of them out. I don't know if I can put graphics up here. But we have The Fake Dating Game by Timothy Janoski, which is great. It's going to be a male-male romance. Looks super, super cute. Lots of fun. Now, I attempted to read a Timothy Janoski last Christmas. You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince. And I did DNF it. But I'm going to give this one a try anyway, you know. I will give an author a second chance. The next one is The Bookbinder's Guide to Love by Catherine Cabrera. I adore Catherine Cabrera. She wrote a ton for the Desire line. So super happy to see her going into this line. Then we have Frenemy Fix-Up by Yahara St. John. Very excited about this one as well. And last but not least, hands down my favorite cover of the 4. Again, I hope I can get covers up here for you guys. We have The Devil in Blue Jeans by Stacey Kennedy. Like, this cover is just... Now, there is nothing, if you look at those 4 covers that I just showed you, there is absolutely nothing tying them together. Nothing tying them together. That is category, right? These are not. So maybe Harlequin themselves are like saying, like, this isn't category, like, this is just new. So if they had just said it's going to be a new line, but these very much remind me in a way of Carina Press. If you are on Harlequin and you look at their imprints, there's one called Carina Press, which does a lot of these types of books. They do different, like, walks of life for characters. They do different sexual orientations and preferences. They have male, male, female, female, you know, 3 or more in some cases. You know, whatever itch you want to scratch, Carina Press has that. And this is what this feels like to me. And that's great if that's what it is. But again, it's not category. It's not a replacement for Desire. You know, the other thing is, okay, I just said how cute the Devil in Blue Jean cover was, and it is. But again, capitalizing off of these cutesy, cartoon covers. You know, you're trying to, again, get in a younger demographic. I get it. Here's my biggest issue. So I went on Amazon to go and see about, you know, how much were these books going to be going for. I looked up The Devil in Blue Jeans. On the the print book, to order a copy of the print book, here in Canada, $17. So it is a trade paperback, okay? Not a mass market, it's a trade paperback. This is essentially, again, it's Carina Press. I don't know why they're bringing out another version of Carina Press. I don't understand. I don't understand what they're doing. Like, why they wouldn't just say, we're ending Desire just because it's what we've decided to do. They don't need to justify it to anybody else. They are the publisher. That's fine. We're ending Desire. We're all going to be upset about it. C'est la vie. We're bringing in some new books. We're starting a new, you know, maybe we're going to revamp the Carina Press line and we're going to rename it as Afterglow or something. That's different, but it's just, all I've heard is replacement for Desire, replacement for Desire, replacement for Desire. And it's not. You can't replace a category romance line like this with books that are, I mean, the ideas might be the same. Like, you know, maybe the word count is the same, maybe the, which would be $17 for a 200-page trade paperback. No. No, it's not happening. I won't pay that. I'm sorry. I will buy the ebook, or I will borrow it from my library. And this is not the first time I have seen Harlequin do this. So many, many moons ago, they got rid of the Blaze line, which was a fan favorite. It is a cult favorite. People love that line so much. They got rid of it, and they said they were bringing in a replacement. And that replacement was Dare. Dare lasted 2 years. 2 years. They were just slightly too late to the party. That was my personal opinion. They were trying to ride off the coattails of 50 Shades of Grey. Whereas what they could have done was done like spicier Blaze. You know, if that's what they wanted to do, like push the envelope a little bit, kind of an idea. You know, Blaze was already considered at the time the most explicit line. You could have pushed that envelope a little bit more and gotten some more, you know. Guys, this is a rambly video, and I am sorry. I'm trying to understand, and I have seen other Instagrammers, bookish Instagrammers doing their little ads and stuff, and I saw them all like, you know, oh, look what's coming, you know, and that's great. That's great. You know, like, I am excited for the authors. These books do look good. I just don't understand why they couldn't just revamp Carina Press, why they couldn't just say, hey, we're starting a new imprint called Afterglow. Again, we're getting rid of Desire and we're starting it. But I just don't see the people who read Desire, the slightly older generation, which I know is not what they're going for. That's not their goal here. Their goal here is to get the people on TikTok to talk about these books. The people who talk about Colleen Hoover and all of those, like, you walk into your Barnes & Noble or your Chapter store and you see, you know, the table laid out, popular on TikTok. That's what they want. That's what they're trying to do, is get these books onto that table so it sells books. 100%. They're publishers. Of course they want to sell books. Hello. But I just feel, I think this is it. At the end of the day, this is what I want to say. I feel like this is a fad that they're trying to ride on. And when that fad stops, then what's next, right? You know, I've really loved what Harlequin has been doing over the last few years. I really, really have. They have gotten a lot more inclusive with stuff. Like, hello, hats off to Rowan Parrish for writing the first male category romance book for special edition a couple years ago with the Christmas book, the Lights on Knoxbridge Lane, which was fantastic. Now we're seeing more of those. We're seeing female romances within special edition. Rowan Parrish wrote another book. Cindy Dees wrote one for the romantic suspense line last Christmas. I think it was called His Christmas Guardian. And then now, later this year, in the Desire line, we are going to see a female romance. And by, I think it's, Sophie Singh Sassoon, I believe is who the author is. I'll pop a cover of it up here. It looks delightful. I cannot wait to read it. So we're getting these romances in Desire, in special edition, in, you know, the different lines, and I'd like to see it more. I would love to see it pop up in, you know, the Presents line. Let's bring it into, you know, historical, you know, maybe not, you know, whatever. Intrigue, definitely. Bring it into the intrigue line. You know, the medical, we've seen it in medical as well. There's a female romance in the medical line, which looks fantastic. So we're seeing this. This is not like, this is groundbreaking and, oh my gosh, we're publishing, you know, blah, blah, blah. The Timothy Janofsky book, The Fake Dating Game, that could have been in here. But again, it might not have adhered to the standards of Desire because maybe the characters are not wealthy. So I get it. You know, I understand. But maybe that book would have been great in special edition. Do you know what I mean? Like, there could have been options. Maybe these books that people, you know, that they could have been, I don't know. I think it's exactly as Publishers Weekly said. They're trying to capitalize off the whole spicy talk hashtag. I wish them well. I hope that I'm going to read them. maybe not all of them. Some of them sound really, really good, and I'm going to read them, and I will talk about them here on this channel. So the first 2 books come out at the end of January, and the second 2 books come out at the end of February. So there'll be 2 books every single month. So what I'm going to do is I am probably going to pre-order them for the Kindle, and I will read them at the end of January. Maybe just do like a vlog on just me reading them and let you guys know my thoughts. Again, I'm not saying anything about the books, the contents of the books, the authors, none of that. I'm just trying to understand what Harlequin's trying to do here. Because I'll be honest, guys, what frightens me as a longtime lover of category romance is that that's something that's going to go away. They're slowly going to start phasing out category, and I don't want to see that happen because there's such good books, and I think that there is a market there, and I think that by adding, you know, these new characters and new stories and new demographic type things, like with LGBTQ plus characters, with authors and characters of color, and all those things, and making it very inclusive, I think you're going to drive it more for the next generation, and I think that's going to be a little bit, give you a bit more longevity than trying to jump on a trend. I guess that's what I'm trying to say at the end of the day. Anyway, I appreciate you guys so much for watching this video. Leave an emoji, leave a heart emoji down if you got through the whole thing. Anyway, guys, that is it. I will talk to you all in my next video. Take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.